If you're interested to learn about the latest about the H-2B visa as it's happening in DC right now, I'm just leaving the Seasonal Employment Alliance day 2, a day filled with speakers from all across the stakeholder spectrum of the H-2 visa. So from the employers to the recruiters to the attorneys to the government officials at the various labor ministries across the world that deal with this program. If that sounds interesting, I'll see you after the break. So here's something that the biggest topic of conversation today by far is number one, how do we stabilize the H-2B program so it's not a crapshoot? So we don't have lotteries, so that we can predict when H-2 workers are coming in. This has been a problem for years. Like, how do we fix that so it can actually become a viable program? Number two, are we going to get an additional allotment of workers for the first half of the 2021-2022 fiscal year? Okay, so let's start in reverse order. The answer to the second question is things look good. As of last week, we were all down because what's happening is that instead of passing an omnibus bill or passing a spending bill, what's happening right now is that we have continuing resolution after continuing resolution, which basically means that instead of creating a new budget for the government, the old budget is getting rolled over. That's bad news for some agencies like the Department of Labor, because they've been trying to increase the number of people that they actually have on payroll so that they can deal with a historic increase in H-2 applications, not just H-2Bs, which this channel deals with, but H-2As. Last year, we saw 319,000 H-2A applicants enter the country. The year before that, 275,000. We're looking at another 17% increase for the 2022 year. Department of Labor simply doesn't have enough people to keep up, although they say they're doing the best they can. And of course, H-2Bs have set record after record after record. This year, based on internal surveys, our Seasonal Employment Alliance partners, everybody that's a part of this organization, there's going to be a 42% increase in H-2B applicants, which is super close to what I predicted at the start of the H-2B series. So we are expecting 130 to 140,000 visas are going to be requested for this year. But anyhow, we saw a 100% increase year on year in fiscal year 2021 October 1st cycle. It looks like there's going to be 12,000 visas or so possibly allotted, and we're going to know by the end of this week. Department of Homeland Security has jurisdiction over that, and so we're waiting for good news this week on whether or not those additional visas are awarded. If we get more visas than that, or if all those visas aren't used, we're anticipating that they might even get rolled over to the April cycle, so the April cycle itself might start with more visas. Let me back up. I'm trying to film this on a busy street. What I'm saying is the fiscal year, good news for fiscal year 2021-2022 cycle 1, the October cycle, is that it does sound like there's a lot of good progress on getting additional visas, perhaps as many as 12,000, perhaps more. There's going to be a 42% increase based on a survey. The survey prediction is a 42% increase in applicants for the April cycle. And so then there's this question of how do we stabilize? Well, right now there's two bills. We're looking at a Senate bill that's co-sponsored by Senators Manchin and Senator Graham, and we're looking at a House bill that is being sponsored by, let me just look through my notes, and then the second bill, the House bill, is by Representative Henry Cuellar, a Democrat from Texas, who's actually a moderate. The issue with these bills is that while during the Trump presidency, we had the far right led by Stephen Miller that was intent on just getting rid of all immigration. On the Democratic side, we have union and pro-labor interests which really don't like the H-2 program, to the point where the Department of Labor seems to have become the antagonistic agency as far as the H-2 program is concerned. That's the flip of the Trump administration, when DHS was antagonistic and the Department of Labor was friendly. And so it's just really interesting to listen to this interplay, because in order for the program to really be functional, you both need the Department of Labor and the DHS to play ball. So as it is, to create any fixes, we're really stuck with doing two things. Number one, trying to fix systemic issues, like the way that we do recruitment in Northern Triangle countries, the way that we deal with COVID-19 vaccine mandates across the world, and then appropriations bills, which are kind of this backdoor to creating legislation. So those are the two things we're stuck with. It doesn't bode well for the near-term future of the program, but maybe in the long term, we're going to see some changes. What we know, though, definitely for this season is we're not seeing any changes, so we have to be prepared, to move forward as is. Big picture-wise, what are we seeing? Big picture-wise, one of the other conversations that I didn't mention at the top of the hour, but which is important to understand is, which country do you recruit from this year because of that COVID-19 vaccine issue? The issue is that anybody entering the U.S., whether it's from air or over land, has to show a COVID negative test within 24 hours of entering, and they have to have shown that they've fully been vaccinated with an MOH or, meaning, a WHO, World Health Organization, or a US CDC vaccine. Now, some countries that H-2Bs are coming from, particularly in the Northern Triangle, don't have good records for people as to which vaccines have been taken. And some people, for example, have taken the Russian Sputnik vaccine, which is not WHO or CDC approved or recommended. Some people have taken a mix of vaccines and they might not have documentation. So it remains to be seen how this is going to be handled at the border, but it all points to anticipating delays about when workers are coming in of an additional few weeks. Add to this fact that countries like Mexico, which have a developed infrastructure for H2 workers, are saying that, hey, we might not have enough vaccines for all this H2A workers that you're coming in. If you send in 400,000 H2A workers, we might not have enough tests for them, like swab tests. We might not have, we might be really hard for us to check everybody's vaccination records. That could also add to delays. And then you have all sorts of transportation issues due to supply chain backlogs, due to a buildup of immigrants trying to enter the country at the U.S.-Mexico border, which might actually make transportation tough. There's so much to unpack, but what I'm going to be trying to do is put this together in an email. Maybe I'll put it up as a public blog post. But suffice to say, this is going to be a season like no other. And I really wanted to be here in D.C. this year so I could, understand the minutia of what's going on. So that's my update for now. I got to head to the airport. I'm going to be putting up a video each day this week, dissecting some of what I've just kind of thrown into here. So I apologize for the kind of rattling, but I just wanted to get something up for you so you know what's up. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.